There are many teachers out there, even those who serve as union representatives and union presidents, who have no idea that our money is being used toward a huge political agenda.
So let's talk a little bit about the basics of this lawsuit. What does that entail?
We're arguing based on our First Amendment rights to free speech and free association. Basically, this is a small group of very courageous teachers taking on a giant, powerful union.
So David versus Goliath.
Definitely.
Or Rebecca versus Goliath in this case.
Rebecca and friends, but we're definitely up against Goliath. So because we are in this predicament because of a Supreme Court ruling, that's where we're headed. We're trying to get to the Supreme Court as quickly as possible because other Americans have had their freedom of speech for 100 years.
So up until this point, what's happened? You went to the first stage of the court. So talk about the kind of stages and where you're at today.
Okay, well, we started out at the trial courts,
Sure.
Central California, and we filed April 30th of 2013, and we were given a ruling against us in early December. We wanted the ruling to be against us. That was a very good day for us. So we are now appealing to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. That's where we are in the process. We hope to get through the appeals court as quickly as possible, and then we will head directly to the United States Supreme Court.
So you're anticipating that the Ninth Circuit obviously rules against you as well, and you want this to go to the Supreme Court.
That's correct. We believe they will because the reason we're in this predicament is based on Supreme Court precedents. So they have to rule against us. The Supreme Court is the only court in the nation that can vindicate our rights to free speech and free association. So we're headed there on the fast track.
So when we talk about schools and we talk about these types of battles, it all comes back to the students, right? Because parents, teachers, all of us interested in the community want the students to succeed and want education to be of great value. Say you win, and all the outcomes come out the way that you want them to come out. How are the kids really impacted from that?
Right. That would be an incredible day for kids all across America, because the unions, part of their collective bargaining is they support things like tenure. So they will protect a teacher who is no longer effective in the classroom and lay off an outstanding younger teacher who is loving the children and teaching well simply because that teacher doesn't have tenure. And they come out against common sense things like vouchers. And children would be so much better off if their parents had more power and the right to choose their education.
And particularly in poor districts, right? I mean, the argument for vouchers is that in poor districts or minority districts that you see those parents desiring scholarship programs like a voucher program more so than other districts.
Definitely, although I think vouchers could help all children. I wish I would have had vouchers for my kids when they were young.
So are there any negative potential impacts for the students?
I can't see any negatives. The union is a private business, and that private business is taking tax dollars, because teachers are paid through tax dollars, so they're taking the tax dollars from our salary, and then they go to the bargaining table, and they bargain with the government, and they are able to get more tax dollars to do things that the union wants to do. The union is not an organization that was started for children, and their job is not to protect children. Their job is protecting teachers, and I don't believe they're protecting teachers. I don't know if you know, Brian, but recently the National Education Association, the most powerful teachers union in America, came out against a bipartisan bill that would prohibit convicted murderers, convicted sex offenders, and convicted kidnappers from working in classrooms. NEA came out against this, yet our hard-earned monies are paying for that organization to make that stance.
So is part of the issue that the agenda of the teachers union seems to be out of touch with what teachers actually want?
Very much. They're out of touch with teachers, and they're out of touch with what's going on in the classroom and the economy and the society. And all of that hurts children It hurts their parents, the taxpayers, and it hurts their teachers.
Well, then why so few teachers on board with you on this lawsuit? And I don't know how many teachers there are in California, but probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions, but there are only 10 of you who are standing up against the teachers union.
Right, that's a great question. Well, the unions control teachers through fear and intimidation. They also control us by controlling information. So there are many teachers out there, even those who serve as union representatives and union presidents, who have no idea that our money is being used toward a huge political agenda, one-sided. They don't know. Those that do know are so intimidated that they're afraid to speak up. I can't tell you how often teachers quietly come to me. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for standing up for us, Rebecca. And they'll complain and complain until a union rep walks in the door. So it's that fear and that intimidation that's keeping teachers from standing up.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Brian.